Hello and welcome to my stream. This setup looks good, doesn't it? So fun. I feel like a real streamer because look, I've got these color changing neons. They're oh so subtle. Very tasteful, very cutesy, very demure. That's so December of 2024. I'm sorry. Was it December? I don't know. Nevertheless, we're going to keep the stream rolling. I have moved my office again because I am what could best be described as the latchkey employee of the office. The latchkey kid, if you will, because I am on the younger end of the employee age spectrum. But I am one of two, basically people that consistently work up here. There's two people that consistently work up in my office suite. And right now, and they're my bosses. And right now one of them is splitting time between this office suite and then we have one downstairs too. And so I'm up here alone quite a bit, which I've talked about quite a bit. It's been the impetus for a lot of my zany ideas on live stream. But really, it's emboldened me to be very experimental with my office layout and choices. And I've taken y'all along for that journey. So last week, I spent all of last week and maybe the week before with my desk in the middle of the room, and it is now back to where it was before, kind of, but not really, because I have my standing desk right there. And so now my whiteboard is kind of in the backdrop of this, which is fun because it puts me in the middle of the camera for thumbnails, and I can benefit from the lighting from the window, which is really why I moved back here. But also now that the standing desk is there, I have kind of three lights going on. I have the window acting as sort of a fill light. I have a key light right ahead. That is my normal lighting that I was... What happened? The lighting got weird. I think because I'm using OBS Studio, it does some fun things with like the blurring and the lighting. So I think it... pardon me while I just sucker punch my mic by accident. I think it does interesting things with the lighting too. There's sort of a portrait glow going on. Can I turn it studio light? Yeah, see that? I can turn it on and off. I can turn portrait on and off. So funny. I always think this looks like I have some sort of computer password visible. What it is it's an old phonetic pronouncer reminder from when I worked at the college radio station when I was in... That was redundant. At the radio station, when I was in college, I was a DJ. And at one point, I was reading a script on air. And my boss at the station would sit in his office and listen to the live broadcast while he was in office. As you would. I mean, it made sense. But as a young DJ, you are very aware of that, and he was a very hands-on instructor, so sometimes you would accidentally say a name wrong and he would walk down the hallway and, in this case, set a sticky note with the correct way to say it on the desk and slide it across. And he told me, you said, and so that's what the top is, what I said, and then the bottom is what I should have said. Which honestly was great. It meant I got to learn from the exact mistake I made. You know what I mean? I really did like that approach to learning. And, I don't know. That never bothered me. I didn't feel like my neck was being breathed down. That's not the point of this. I was very fond of those moments, even though they were, me making mistakes. And so I keep that at my desk because I'm fond of that time period when I was working at the radio station and that boss. So cutesy, but I feel like the way it looks like a password or something, which is sort of funny because it won't do anything for you. There's no security breach happening, but it is funny to think about because I work with engineers. And they are not fond of security breaches. I don't know that anyone is, if we're being honest, but yeah, nevertheless, I digress. Okay, so I am going to actually work while I live stream. And I'm not going to share screen while I work on it, but I'll talk to you about what I'm working on. Basically, tomorrow I have one of my 2 weekly tag ups with one of my bosses, and we have talked a little bit about an app idea I have, and I'll explain it a little bit to you without giving the whole thing away. I don't want to give away my top secret high quality ideas. But I'll talk about a little bit about my own personal experience and why I think this would be cool. While I work on, I'm going to throw together some branding and then maybe a like rough wireframe of what I have in mind. But yeah, obviously this is going to be like TMI in that it's more information than you would expect from someone in the workplace, like, which is I'm at work. But like not TMI and like a, oh my God, I can't believe, you know. But that's my like disclaimer, I guess, because I feel like talking about mental health in the workplace is like still kind of weird. Still kind of taboo. But also I think the intersection of like health, like the way you experience physical health and mental health can also be kind of weird because it's like, whoa. Why are we talking about that? But basically, I'm going to water it down, and we're going to take that approach to it. Basically, though, I feel like it can be spoken about for anyone, no matter what. I think we experience life, or maybe I'm just assuming. I feel like it is a nice, easy way to water down talking about your own feelings and circumstances. Is to generalize it, but I feel like that's also kind of reckless. So I'm kind of straddled between the two right now, trying to figure out how I want to talk about this on live stream. I guess I'll just personalize it and like y'all hold space for professionalism, okay? Like I don't have a Star Wars cat calendar behind me. But I would say that I discovered over the past 2 years that I have like kind of like mood swings. It's not fun, not cute. I guess that's like the best way to talk about it though. But I basically found that I was able to like look at a calendar and know when I was going to have basically like a week or 2 weeks that were going to be more difficult, and I was going to have like ADHD flare-ups or basically just times where it felt harder to like lock in and focus at work, or like harder to get out of bed in the morning, harder to do basically like everything. Executive dysfunction was getting harder. And for whatever reason, if this is relatable to you, who knows what's causing it or why? Because I think there's probably 1,000,001 reasons that like people can deal with mood swings or like mental health flare-ups or executive dysfunction. And so that was a personal thing I was experiencing. And I found that a huge part of coming to realize that that was a thing for me, like part of my battle was the fact that it would be like a week and then time would pass, and then I'd have another week and then time would pass. And like I almost was getting like gaslit into thinking that everything was fine and normal because there were like these breather time periods. And I think if like you're going through like a transitional period in life where you're like adjusting to 9 to 5 or like any sort of adjustment, you can also kind of write it off as that, or and maybe it is that, but it took me some like real thinking and learning to almost review my whole life and the way that I've approached tasks, and the way that I've come up with like strategies for efficiency and coping mechanisms for mental health and all sorts of different things, to realize that like, oh, hey, wait, this actually there may be more to this story. And I feel like the first step is being able to time block and take a look at your life and record how you're feeling. And so that was the impetus for my app idea. And then from there, it kind of evolved because I started to think about like other ways people might be setting goals for themselves that like an app like this would fit, or other like health struggles people might have that aren't anything like mine. That was the reason I came up with this idea and was like, oh man, it would be great if I just had an app that could do this. And I don't know. I talked to one of my bosses. My tongue tied. I talked to one of my bosses about it, and he was very encouraging and said like, oh yeah, like that I could, like let's meet more about this. Like I like the sound of it. And so I want to kind of go in with more than just nothing to talk through. So I'm going to start wireframing it. But yeah, basically, again, I feel like I've basically, at this point, all but said the idea. But the first step in coming up with an app idea, I'm new here, so I don't know why I'm talking like I'm telling you how it goes. But as I talked through this idea with my boss, he was talking me through, okay, so here's what we got to do. We like do market research, look at what's out there. Does this thing exist? And sometimes it's like, oh, well, it does exist. That sucks from like a business standpoint, but great news, the app you want does exist. So in this case, I wouldn't be too upset. And then it's like, okay, well, if the app doesn't exist, what does exist? And kind of start thinking through, why is that? What is out there? What does that reveal about the market? Things like that. So what we found, and what I have found from doing that kind of market research, is that there is sort of a bottom-up approach right now to apps that chronicle this kind of data. And I find that, at least in my experience, and this is where we may be alienating the market and the audience, who knows if anyone else needs what I want in an app, who knows? I am a part of a lot of Reddit groups that I get emails about r/ the things that ail me. And every so often I will read posts and I'm like, okay, like I think we experience life in very similar ways. I think this way of keeping track of information would be helpful for you too, maybe. So I have to believe that this sort of, did I finish my sentence? That what exists is a very from the bottom up way of tracking. I want a quick and dirty way to chronicle it where I can like, oh, I forgot. I'm like trying not to give away the whole thing. Basically what exists is a bottom up way of collecting data where I think there's like a quicker, more intuitive top down way. Is that the way to like top down versus bottom up? I'm trying to make sure that that even makes sense too, the way I'm saying it. But yeah. And honestly, I'm not totally sure. After like really diving into some of the like downloading and using some of the apps, frankly, like I kind of like the in-depth apps at this point. But I think what I was needing before I had, because again, it's like you can gaslight yourself into being like, not gaslighting, because it is true through in time periods where you feel like you are doing well, you are doing well. You know what I mean? That's not gaslighting yourself. But like there are times where it's like everything is fine, and you maybe lose sight of the fact that like there is a timer counting down to T-minus 4 more days, and then your brain is going to be on fire again. Which I feel like I'm painting with very severe strokes right now. Which I think is okay. I don't want to like be that intense about it though. I'm trying to be very reserved about how I'm talking about this, but yeah. I think it's okay. I think it's good to talk about how sometimes it feels like your world is falling apart and you still gotta go to work. Now, I say that a lot of people feel that way. I don't. That feels like it's granting a lot of validity to my feelings and experience. Which sure I can do in my own personal time. But on a live stream at work, I'm going to be real. It was never that deep. But that is why it's helpful to keep tally of things, because so then you know, like, oh, okay. I don't know. I think also, if I'm being real, this app will be great for people that are like training for marathons. I don't know. Something really productive and useful and completely opposite to my use case. Girl, I don't know. At this point, I'm just saying things online, and I haven't really accomplished much. Maybe when I go home tonight, I will put together like a mood board. So I'm having one of those moments where I'm like talking, and talking is an impediment to my productivity at the current moment. So many mouth noises. I'm driving my own self crazy. This streamer setup rocks though. Like almost kind of doesn't matter that I'm irritating and prattling on about things that don't matter much. I say that, I don't know why I'm minimizing this experience, because if I was seeing someone talk about these things a year ago, I would have been like, oh my God, yeah. And it would have been really important to me. So in the off chance that one of my 2 people that are going to watch this video feel the same way, I don't want to step on their toes of experience. So I don't know. It's just vulnerable and uncomfortable, I guess, and probably a bit much for work. But it is how things that are useful get made, I suppose. Not to say this for a fact will be useful, but man, keep an eye out. Look at the App Store. Driven Catalyst. And maybe it's my app idea. That would rock. Not making any promises, of course. This is just a preliminary meeting we're going into tomorrow, but we'll maybe discuss it. Okay, so I'm thinking through, first thing you would do, you would set like, I feel like you You know what, too? Okay. This is maybe more relatable. I feel like sometimes with apps, so you have the App Store view of what the app is, right? Well, then you get into the weeds of the app. You download it, you try to start using it. They don't really describe what's going on well enough. So then you're like making choices and they feel like, maybe this is just me, but I get stressed out like, oh my God, am I going to be able to change this? Because what if I make the wrong choice right now and then the whole app is screwed up and then I'll never use it again? And that's fine. That's not that high stakes. This is just an app. But I did download this app for a reason. I am hoping it's going to be useful. That experience? Anyone else have that? So in my mind, because I'm going to set it up where you start filling out. Okay, I can say this. I'll say this. So first things first, I think it's going to ask, what do you want your day one to be? And that means it's going to what is the start of your week, right? Because so I would say I observe a very typical, I consider Monday the beginning of my week. Like in a mindset way, not in like a, not in any other way. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Which like is to say, we'll bring it back since I already said the quiet part out loud, that I have dealt with mood swings, or mood instability at times. I consider Monday the beginning of my week. That's not to say that my experience then of that week is going to coincide with that. But in terms of, and this is what I mean when I say top down versus bottom up, when you are thinking about your week, I still think it's helpful to paint in broad strokes. I think for me, it would have been helpful to look at it like this. I almost wanted a big, thick highlighter and a desktop-sized calendar to be like, okay, this and this and this day were like worse than others. And then, like it didn't have to start on Monday, but when I reflect, it almost did. You know what I mean? Not necessarily. I don't know. What am I saying? But so that being said, all over the place. She's all over the place. Friday, Saturday. I want my first question to be like, choose your day one. So like, what is the first day of your week? But then I think I would appreciate as a user being told, hey, we're going to ask you what the beginning of your week is. It should be the same for a while for the purpose of you're tracking this data or whatever, tracking this cycle, information, whatever. I think in my mind, you can go back in and change it, reset it, because who's to say that then someone doesn't. So like my friends I have a lot of friends that are servers. Our weeks are so totally different. I don't know what they would consider the beginning of their week. I think I will ask them that later. I think that's information that may be illuminating just in knowing more about my friends kind of way. But like their weekends and days off are so different from my weekends and days off. You know what I mean? Like we conceive of time differently at this point, probably. So also just like when you work certain jobs, you don't know your schedule. Your schedule not the same every week. That's like a running joke in my friend group because, they put all their work schedules on a whiteboard on the fridge and there's change each week and mine is always the same. which is nice and fun. It works for me. But you know what I mean? Like we want the app to fit other use cases, right? So you choose your day one. This can be changed later. And then basically all that influences is what letter is at the top of each column, I think. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or then there's the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday week. Or like think here, we'll make it even crazier. Imagine if you're like, if your holy day is Sunday and you are part of the leadership, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, part of the leadership of whatever religion, denomination, spiritual practice you subscribe to, then I would say like your week builds to Sunday. I guess that is how our weeks are because we live in a very spiritually and religiously oriented society. I thought I was going out on a limb. So here's another one. So imagine you work at Saturday Night Live and your whole week is building towards Saturday night. That's not that different considering Saturday night turns into Sunday as the show finishes. I don't know. But like, right? So then your week looks differently. Like the circadian rhythm of your life, if you will, is totally different. That will affect how you will use this app. I want to really consider and hold space for all potential use cases before this app is even greenlit. Otherwise, it's just unconscionable to me. I cannot fathom not considering every potential use case and holding space for it. I'll just simply go mad. What is that? Like the old movie transatlantic accent? Is that what it is? Okay, so those are the options, right? And then I guess I will just like, I could do like this. I could be crazy. In my mind, this was going to be so aesthetically pleasing. It was going to like basically sell the idea from the get-go. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, this app looks so good. This branding is such a strong idea. Like, we have to make this app. This is awesome. This is like a wireframe though. Your Honor, she was a little delulu. That being internet slang for delusional, of course. For the unseasoned internet goers. I'm somewhat of an internet vet. An intervet. I'm sorry. I'm at this point just being annoying like it's my job. Which we kind of have made it my job with these live streams. Can't complain. Okay, so then so those are the cycles. And these are the weeks. And then we got like that. Slash, sometimes it's like, no, because it's not like that. Okay. Sorry, I just had to remind myself what the whole point of this is. Essentially, this is just conceiving of time. Wait, so then 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can just go all in on the year. Why don't we? Except there's 52 weeks in a year, huh? 4, So that's another thing. I'm trying to really make this as simple as possible. Kind of, when during the pandemic, and I said this to my boss when I was pitching it, during the pandemic, people got really into like crocheting blankets that had like the weather. They did a row of one color for the weather, or like I've seen people do it for their moods too. I'm looking for the app version of that, except we're going to time block it. And that's all I'll say. And because I am a rootin' tootin' Rudy Tooty aim and shooty, I'm thinking about Brian Regan. Because I'm a rootin' tootin' cowgirl, part of Gen Z. Obviously, it's going to have really eye-catching branding. Because my generation just aged into the purchasing class. Now everything gets to be cute and aura colored with fun eye-catching fonts. So this is obviously gonna be like that. So that's like that, and then I think you just like click, and then you let me jot down. Okay. So this is almost okay. So I've just like brain dumped a whole bunch of key facets of this app that I think would be helpful and cool. I'll talk through some of them, but then we need to wrap this up. Basically, is anyone still on Tumblr? Some commotion for the friends that are still on Tumblr. I've only recently gotten back on Tumblr, and I like it. I like it a lot. Something that is really cool about Tumblr is the way that when you like leave tags for something, so let's say I'm reblogging a Severance post. Well, obviously I can begin to type Severance, and Severance will damn near autofill in for me. Or I have a friend that will reblog stuff and put my name in the tags so that I know when I'm scrolling, oh, this is like a post that she saw that reminded her of me. Stuff like that. She'll do that for her other friends too. And then if you go up to the search bar on someone's blog, you can see their most used tags. So sometimes it's like, okay, it's been a big month for Riley. There have been a lot of posts that have reminded my friend of me, like that's so fun. Or it's been like a Severance heavy month, or it's been like a whatever heavy month. Or I don't know if it's month to month, like cyclically, or I think it may be more of all time. So like older blogs, it's like, oh, like this person has since the dawn of time been super duper into like Doctor Who content, right? Like stuff like that. I like the sound of that. So, and then also I like the idea, and I don't know how much of this is possible. How much of this would be like autofill, like when Apple tries to predict what your next word is going to be, versus AI, because we're not integrating AI. That's a no. But if there is some sort of algorithm or whatever to try and figure out like and parse the data such that you still feel like it's your own information, like you feel like there's privacy and protection, but also like the ability to streamline it sounds ideal to me. So some of these things I think are the things that we're going to discuss tomorrow in this meeting, while we even talk about the viability of the idea. But I think all in all, this ended up being an effective little live stream. I feel like pretty content with what I was able to get done. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you are as excited as I am to be back to this setup. I've already talked to both bosses. They both made dang near the same joke about you rearrange your office again, or I think you do it about 3 times a week now, or you do it at least once a week now, which is accurate, because I can discreetly, and then it's fun. You wait a couple days and then one of them notices, and then granted I did it this morning, so they both noticed day of today. But yeah. Okay. I think I just went on a tangent for no reason right at the end of the stream. Oops. Have a great day. I will see y'all tomorrow, and the setup will be the same. That is a promise. I think we're gonna stick to the setup for forever now. One quick thing though, I did move all this around because I got a walking pad and a standing desk. I tried to use my walking pad earlier today, and I think it's broken. So that's my next journey I'm going on. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.